believe that travel is a mind-expanding drug. Travel exposes us to new situations. New situations trigger new impressions, new reflections, new thoughts, and all of that, of course, is mediated by neurochemistry, which means that we're getting high. We're getting a chemical rush from this exposure to novelty, from travel. And of course, it seems obvious, because to travel is to see different ways of seeing the world. Not just seeing different parts of the world, but different ways of seeing the world, because different cultures operate under different linguistic principles, different belief systems, different virtual realities, different reality tunnels, different lenses of interpretation. And again, we see with our lenses and we see through our lenses, but we don't always see the lenses themselves. Virtual reality, as people talk about it today, is the ability to render an environment that is a simulacrum of the real, kind of like in the film The Matrix, but one in which we can control our fate. So we will be as gods in this fully mediated dream world, these electronic virtual spaces that will be extensions of our imagination, and it will finally free us from the boundaries of biology. How cool would it be to fly? How cool would it be to be immortal? How cool would it be to be Neo in the Matrix? I think that is the promise of VR for all of us. Ontology has to do with beingness. It goes directly to the notion of our interiority, our subjectivity. And so ontological design has to do with how do we shape our interior perspective on the world, right? Like, how do we gain some kind of stewardship of our internal life through design? In other words, like, can this sofa change how I see the world? Can the clothing that I wear transform my perspectives on reality? And it turns out that, yeah, it very much can. Like, we are extremely mediated by design cues. You put a uniform on somebody and their political views will change just like that. So that, design is not passive, design is active. Moods and behaviors can be scripted into design. 800,000 people a year now are committing suicide globally, according to the United Nations. That's a larger number than the amount of people that die from natural disasters and armed conflict combined. So this thing with suicide, depression, and anxiety is horrific. And so the traditional medications, they don't cut it. And as it turns out, under controlled environments with the right guides, administering these mind-altering chemicals has the capacity, or seems to evoke, what they call a classical mystical experience, which Roland Griffiths from Johns Hopkins University likens to a kind of inverse PTSD. Even basic game-changing advances like biotechnology. So I think we'll reprogram our genetics. I think we'll cure cancer. I think we'll be able to download software patches for biology the way we download updates for our apps on our phones. I think not only will diseases be a thing of the past, but we'll be able to reprogram our bodies so they don't age. I think that we'll get rid of this whole aging and mortality thing. And I think we'll finally free consciousness from the confines of entropy. I mean, that should be our goal at the end of the day. A self-reflecting, thinking mind is a god. And a god trapped in a mortal body is a cardinal sin. We have the mental capacity to ponder the infinite, yet we're housed in heart-pumping, breath-gasping, decaying bodies. We're gods and worms at the same time. And I think our evolutionary goal, our technological directionality should be aimed at overcoming mortality. You now are getting replaced, and what's going to happen to your wages and what's going to happen to your livelihood. And so I get those concerns, and that's why I'm supportive of these experiments with universal basic income and so on and so forth. But philosophically, the idea of offloading that load to the machines and free the thinking, dreaming human beings to become artists in a Garden of Eden sustained by machines is not a problem as far as I'm concerned. It will finally free us to be like kindergarteners, exploring and creating and playing, but not be slaves to the cogs of the machines. Let the machines be the slaves in the cog of the machine, you know what I mean?